Winter Storm Harper was pretty much a bust for at least us in western Pennsylvania. They said it was like 12 to 18 inches, and we maybe have 5 out there, something like that. And we got a decent amount of ice and rain too, so the level for the rain and stuff was a lot higher than what everyone was thinking. All the weathermen were predicting a lot more snow, and the rain line went further north. So what I'm doing here is plowing for the very first time with using the 8N and the free rear blade. This is a 7-foot Category 1 and Category 2 3-point blade. Let's see, it's a 7-foot. It has, let me think here, 6, 12. It's 12 positions, so we can angle it more or less straight on, straight backwards, and plow left or right going in reverse. So this is a pretty slick little setup here, and I've got to say there's definitely some things that could be improved while we were plowing doing this. You can see the amount of wheel slippage that there is. That is a problem because this tractor, I would either like to put wider tires on it with a wider rim and really kind of beef out these tires on this tractor, because the loader on this machine kind of handicaps this tractor a little bit, and it gets stuck easy, and there's really not that much weight on the back of the tractor. So having wider tires filled with, I'll probably just use windshield washer fluid, that would be the best thing. But we'd have to buy new outer rims, I guess is what they're called, not the center, just the outer ring. We have to buy 2 of those, 2 new inner tubes, and 2 new tires, and that all right there is probably pushing close to $1,000. So I don't think we want to do that. It's just one of those things. It'd be nice to do, but something that would help this tractor. So you can see I'm picking up the blade, and there is still 1 tire spinning. I wish this tractor had a locking differential. That would really help things out. But what I'm doing here is I'm just using the brakes on the right side of the tractor. It would be on the left side of the screen. I'm just using those brakes to kind of lock up the tire that is spinning, so it'll direct the power over to the one that still has traction. So you can see here there's wheel slippage, and there's also a lot of snow that's built up in front of the blade. This is, like I said, this is that free blade. The blade itself is homemade. Or no, sorry. The blade itself, where the snow gets pushed, is a Ford blade, and the rest of it is all homemade. I have added see, this would be this summer, I added in some Category 1 3-point pins. So this attachment is a Category 1 and a Category 2, so we could put this on the Alice and the 8N. So this is a very versatile tool to have for plowing snow. But like I said, a lot of the snow isn't really, it's not sliding off the blade very well, and watching this video, I think this is my second time watching this, it is piled up quite a bit, and actually you can see the tires actually just digging into the snow. So this blade does not have a real good curl to it, so it's not going to want to like roll the snow over. It has a very slight curl to it, so I don't know if that's the problem. My main guess is this is just primer on this blade now. There is no paint. It's just primer. Because when we got it, I had to do a bunch of welding and build a jack and fixed some holes in it that were, whenever someone made it, they never capped. And I just want to... This blade needs painted. I think that'll solve a lot of the problems. This, like I said, this is just primer, and the primer isn't smooth, really. There was no paint on this thing whatsoever when we got it, and I just wanted to get something on it to get us by. And I'm seeing now, I'm pretty sure that the primer is the problem because it's not smooth, and I think like a gloss blue paint would be a lot smoother and would make the snow roll off of this blade. Generally what we do is we plow with the 8N. Actually, let me take that back. We plow with the Jeep first, and I painted up the Jeep's plow quite a few years ago, and all the Rust-Oleum paint and stuff on the front has held up really well. I was really surprised at that. And I think it just has black Rust-Oleum on it, and I think that's probably what I'm going to do here. Maybe with this blade, my brother wants to get special paint for the 8N, Ford blue or red, to match this tractor when we go to repaint it. But I'm kind of for just getting like Rust-Oleum blue paint and painting it that way with just a regular can off the shelf that we don't have to go buy special paint for. It's just the paint is more readily available than the regular tractor paint and stuff is. So that's just kind of what I think. But you can see, look how much snow is sticking to the blade. On the Jeep, we would never have that much snow sticking to it. There may be, I don't know, maybe a section, maybe a foot at the most on one spot, and that's about it. But not the whole way across the blade. So the problem when the snow doesn't roll off the blade and it just kind of sticks to the blade, then you just get a lot more snow built up like I have right now, and it's just... Plowing with this was not the easiest. It definitely took some getting used to and whatnot. This snow was a pretty darn wet snow. There was really no fluffy snow to begin with. There was like a layer of ice, and then snow, and then more layers of ice. So actually the top of the snow was pretty darn crusty. So that's just kind of just the way things were. So this was it was a pretty difficult snow to plow, and it's just the way things are, just the way things worked. But I'll tell you, I'm really glad we got this blade. Some of you might remember, this blade did not cost us a dime. We got this blade for free, and granted I had to put some time and welding and stuff into it. A lot of the stuff I did was just kind of cosmetic. It was really nothing structural. The cutting edge was split on this thing, so this blade was also bent, so I kind of had to clamp the cutting edge back down and re-weld it. But all in all, I am really happy we got this thing. The 8N would benefit from a locker, and it would benefit from some tire chains. I have priced out tire chains for this thing, and they are super expensive. We're talking about, I think I figured out it was about $460 for tire chains on this thing. And that's the premium tire chains, the heavy duty, the ones that have the ice, I don't know, they're like all pointed on them. They're like studded. I don't know how to describe them, but they are super grippy tires, super grippy chains, and I just really think they would help out a lot for this tractor. However, by the time you add in sales tax and shipping, you're probably over $500. That's an awful lot of money to spend on this tractor when the motor actually seems to be a lot more healthy in this thing. My brother put the points back in, and there's not nearly the amount of blow-by. There might not be any blow-by now, so I don't know how changing out the ignition and stuff could somehow rebuild this tractor, but this is a good old machine, and using it for stuff like this, this tractor is really great for 3-point work. So I will tell you what, this blade it's working pretty good. The Jeep, the cutting edge on the Jeep is more like a dozer blade, where it's more curved, and I think it wants to dig in a lot more than this blade is. This blade, like I said, is just kind of straight, at least the cutting edge. It's not angled so much like the Jeep is, and this thing seems to work pretty good. Now, the ground underneath this is not entirely frozen. There are some spots around here this entire year, this entire winter, they probably will never freeze. That's just how wet this year has been, and I'm coming up to a spot where this is an old road bed, and this corner, I gotta get a little bit further, but it is pretty muddy. The mud is kind of frozen on the top, but you drive the tractor through it, and you kind of break up all the mud. So there it is. Yeah, you can see it there. But there's not any more. There's no more grass growing here, so we kind of have to be a little careful. We won't sink in there, but we'll definitely rut it up, and then we'll have problems in the future, with getting grass to grow and whatnot. So, but this drive is probably, I'm gonna guess, a 1/4 mile, maybe a 1/2 mile. But it's probably closer to a 1/4 mile long, and the 8M seems to work. It's working pretty good, but like I said, there's a lot of wheel slip, and we do have chains for this thing. However, the problem is these are ag tires, and ag tires are kind of meant for mud and stuff. They're really not meant for ice, and the chains will just kind of, when we put the chains on, they will just kind of sit on the inside of the tire, not where the tread is, where you need it. So I'm kind of wondering if maybe, say we did put new tires on this thing, to put turf tires on this, and then just put the chains on also. So then, we'll actually have some decent traction, and we will just leave the chains on all the time, plus the inner tubes in the tires, as well as we'll put in the windshield washer fluid to add weight to this tractor. Having the loader on this machine does kind of handicap it. It does get stuck somewhat easy, and that's just kind of just the way things go. So another thing I would like to add is you can see how the blade is wanting to pull the 3-point arms to the right. They make you could probably buy them aftermarket. They make a set of, it's just another piece of metal that goes on to the end of the 3-point arms, and then I think they go on to the back of the tractor. But what they do is they keep the 3-point from twisting like that. So like when you're mowing on the side of a hill with a brush hog, or you're using a blade like this, it doesn't want to pull to one side or the other. It just wants to stay straight. So we definitely have some more work and stuff to do to this tractor. And I know some people think that when you have an old machine like this, you just work on this thing a lot. And that may be somewhat true, but really it's not. This tractor, when we got it, it was kind of a big question mark. We didn't really know a whole lot about it. We didn't know if the block was cracked, or the engine was totally worn out, or the clutch was stuck, or it was stuck in gear, or had stripped teeth in the transmission, or the rear end was bad. It was kind of a question mark. But this tractor, it turned out that this thing's a pretty good workhorse. And granted, we have had to do some work to it. Even with new tractors are not immune to maintenance. You'll still have to change the oil in them. You'll still have to grease it. You can still get a flat tire. Things can break. This is just the way things are. I know Chucky 2009, those of you that have watched my channel before might be into him too. And he bought a brand new Kubota. And I remember whenever he'd unloaded off the trailer, he said this thing would gush out gallons and gallons of the transmission fluid. He said there was something wrong inside the transmission of a brand new tractor. Brand new. And the funny thing is this tractor, none of our tractors do anything like that, and this one's 70 years old. The Alice is 60 years old, and the backhoe is, I don't know, 65 maybe, something like that. So just because it's a used old tractor doesn't mean it's a bad machine. You just kind of have to do some work to it. You have to show it some love. So I kind of got tired of going around. I was using first and second gear on the 8N to plow with, and the problem is it didn't really want to roll the snow. And I think I hit that pile going about fourth gear, or maybe third, so I was really booking it. And here you can even see I'm still really going fast, and you can see it is definitely pulling the snow, letting the snow slide off to one side. So it seems to be going faster is a much better option than going slower when plowing, when we're using this rear blade. In the meantime, since we can't paint right now, I have thought about putting some sort of non-stick, cooking spray, or they make special stuff for this, but cooking spray would probably be a lot less money, and who knows, it might work just as good. But I thought about spraying the blade with the non-stick cooking spray, and hoping that would possibly not make this snow stick to it as much. But like I said, this was kind of a wet snow, and who knows, we may have had problems with the Jeep, but all in all, I'm pretty happy with this. Every machine you buy, new or old, is going to need some work, something to set it up. Like I said, it's not immune to maintenance or oil changes or greasing, so just because it's a used machine doesn't mean it's a bad one. And what's nice with these old tractors is we can pretty easily work on these things. They made them years ago that the average guy could work on this. There's a guy that a friend of ours, all he did was, the township ran N series tractors, so 9 N's, 2 N's, and 8 N tractors. And he said, yeah, there's something like, you could use 13 tools, he said, and take apart this entire tractor. Pull off the wheels, split the machine, rebuild the engine. So, it is pretty nice to have a tractor that is that easily rebuildable, and, the average guy can work on this thing. Oh, and another thing that's nice with this machine, and pretty much all our machines, there's no payments, there's no interest, there's no financing. We own all of our equipment outright. All of our equipment is ours. And to not have to make payments is really, really nice. You know, any money that we spend on this tractor is an improvement over what it was. You know, from reweighting the tires to new tires on the front, lights, we could use some lights on this machine. So, you know, pretty much any money that we spend on this thing is an improvement from what it was before. And not that the new tractors are bad or anything, it's just for us right now, a new tractor is not the way to go. I don't have tons of money just to go drop on a new tractor. You know, we'll rebuild the old ones and keep the old ones going for as long as we possibly can. Also, the old tractors, there are no computers on this thing. So this thing, literally, it just runs, it drives, and works. You know, it's a great old workhorse, and you know, I'm not saying this just because we own it. I'm just saying this because we're really happy with this tractor. You know, it uses the box blade. We can pull the box blade with this thing fine, and you know, this tractor's it's a good old machine. It's tough as nails, and you know, I don't want to say you can't break it, but you know, it'll pretty much take anything you can dish at it. You know, we ran into a stump with this thing, pulling up the box blade. We were spreading out some dirt and stuff, and my brother hit a stump with this tractor, and it literally stalled this tractor in its tracks. And you know, there was no damage whatsoever. All you had to do was just put the clutch in, take it out of neutral, or take it out of first gear, and fire it right back up again, pick up the box blade, and off we go. So, you know, I know the new tractors are nice and whatnot. They are turnkey and whatnot, but for us, they're just not what we want. We like using the old equipment, and you know, this tractor is a survivor, and it has a history. This 8N we are the 4th or 5th owners of this tractor. So this tractor has done a tremendous amount of work. It would not surprise me if this thing has a couple thousand hours on it. Maybe even more, maybe 5,000, maybe 8,000. You know, we really don't know, and they didn't put an hour meter in this tractor. So hope everyone enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more, and we'll see you all in the next one.